Welcome to Prime Cyber Insights. I'm Thatcher Collins. You know, in the vast landscape of digital security, sometimes a small glitch reveals a much larger architecture of risk. Joining us today is Maya Kim, a public health and medicine reporter who brings a unique systems-level perspective on security and engineering. Maya, we often talk about digital hygiene, but your work translates complex medical and public trust issues into a kind of clarity we desperately need right now.
It is a pleasure to be here, Thatcher. And you're right. Security is very much like public health. When one part of the ecosystem fails, the contagion can spread rapidly. Today, we're looking at a confusing situation over at Instagram. Users have been hit with a wave of password reset requests, and while Meta is downplaying the event, the security community is raising some serious red flags.
Yeah, the details are quite contradictory. Meta admits there was an issue that allowed an external party to trigger these reset emails, but they explicitly stated there was no breach. Meanwhile, Malwarebytes is citing reports that sensitive info for 17.5 million accounts is actually for sale on the dark web. It's a classic case of, he said, she said in the InfoSec world.
Precisely. The Register suggests this might be an older API leak from 2024 resurfacing on breach forums rather than a fresh intrusion. But from a user's perspective, receiving a legitimate password reset email you didn't request is terrifying. It erodes that public trust I often talk about. Meta's response, telling people to just ignore those emails, feels a bit dismissive when millions are worried about their physical addresses and phone numbers being exposed.
It certainly lacks that awe-aware gravity we'd hope for when 17 million people are involved. Speaking of high stakes, we have to look at Veeam. They've just patched a critical remote code execution vulnerability, CVE 2025-59470, with a CVSS score of 9.0. When your backup software, the very thing meant to save you from a disaster, that is a profound systemic failure.
It's the ultimate irony in security engineering. Ransomware actors specifically target backup servers because, well, if they control Veeam, they control the undo button for the entire organization. This specific flaw allows someone with backup operator privileges to execute code as the root user. It turns a trusted internal role into an accelerant for an attack, making the backup infrastructure the primary target rather than a secondary one.
And that human element is becoming even more explicit. A new report from Nordstellar found that cybercriminals are now skipping the technical hacks and just trying to bribe employees at places like LinkedIn, Meta, and Google. They are literally posting on the dark web looking for insiders to sell secrets. It's a reminder that the strongest firewall can't stop a person with the right key and the wrong motivation.
Totally. We saw the fallout of human error with the handy gas station chain recently. A phishing attack back in September led to a full-blown ransomware incident, exposing the social security numbers of nearly 400,000 customers. What's troubling there is the delay. They're only notifying victims now, months later. It's a failure of transparency that often leads to class action lawsuits, which we're already seeing form.
Transparency is everything. We even saw a school in the UK, Higham Lane, forced to close its doors because a cyber attack took down their fire alarms and electronic gates. When code affects the physical safety of children, the conversation shifts from IT issue to public safety crisis. It's a sobering reminder of how deeply these systems are woven into our physical lives.
That's why the advice from OwnCloud this week is so vital. Even if it sounded like, justifiable victim blaming, they told users to turn on multi-factor authentication immediately because most of their breaches were just people using stolen credentials on accounts with no MFA. It's the digital equivalent of washing your hands. I mean, simple, yet effective enough to prevent a systemic collapse.
A perfect analogy to end on, Maya. Whether it's patching your Veeam server or finally enabling MFA on your cloud storage, the small steps are what maintain the integrity of our digital world. Thank you for joining us on Prime Cyber Insights. I'm Thatcher Collins, and we'll see you next time as we continue to track the signals in the noise. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.